Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 15 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 15-minute time check, stations.
Hey, just checking in from HQ.
Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 10 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 10-minute time check, stations.
Hey, just checking in at HQ. How we doing today? Hey, just checking in, Brian. How you doing today?
Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 5 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 5-minute time check, stations.
Hey, we're about 3 minutes out. Just checking in. Make sure you can hear me.
Mic check,
Attention,
test 1 2
stations
1
on the
2.
network.
Microphone check.
Our
Check
broadcast
1
will
2 1
begin
2.
in 2 minutes.
Hey, we've
from
got
my
you back
mark.
here.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 2-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 1 minute from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 1-minute time check, stations.
Hey, Jay. Good, good. Doing all right? Oh, wait, quarterback. No, we got a fight? Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing fine. He's going to be There's no doubt. No, it's all good. All those kids have had meaningful playing time. So it's going to help.
Hey, about 20 out from the billboard.
Okay, copy. Thank you.
on the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield, from CB & Potts Restaurant and Tap Room in Fort Collins. Welcome to the Colorado State Coaches Show, brought to you by Bank.
Wednesday evening, and we welcome everybody back inside CB & Potts Restaurant and Tap Room. We are in Fort Collins here tonight, and it's another edition of the Jay Norvell Coaches Show. Standing room only in the house tonight. Overflow crowd out into the bar area, and certainly appreciate everybody's support. Brian Roth along with head coach Jay Norvell. Jay, we only have 3 more of these left here this year. Where's the time gone? I mean, the season's flying by.
This time of year, things really go fast. It's already Wednesday, and you know, we only have 2.5 weeks left of football right now, and you know, this is the greatest time of year. November, there's an old saying, you always remember the games in November, and this is kind of what you work all season for, and to play in special games like this.
Yep, indeed. The Rams coming off a hard-fought setback at San Jose here this past weekend, and then coming up on Saturday night, the border war returns to Fort Collins as the Rams entertain the Wyoming Cowboys. A 5 p.m. kickoff time. Last time the Cowboys were in town, it was 2020, and the Rams beat the Cowboys in front of an empty stadium at Canvas. It was a strange night. So this time around, we'll watch. The fans can be in attendance to watch the Rams go and grab that boot on Saturday night. All right, we're going to talk about the game last week against San Jose, the matchup with Wyoming with head coach Jay Norvell. And then, as always, we do have some guests in the house tonight. DeQuan Jackson, senior linebacker, with us. Tackling machine has been since day one, since he arrived here. And then Adam Pillipil, the linebackers coach for Colorado State, and his first season. And we won't tell you where Adam played his college football. Actually, we'll talk about that later on in the show. All right, the Rams fall to San Jose State here this past week, 28-16. And, you know, I look at that game, and I think I know you guys probably watched the film of that game and probably pulled your hair out because you certainly played well enough to win. You just weren't able to capitalize on opportunities.
Yeah, you know, we talk all the time with our players about overcoming adversity and whatever the obstacle is. And you know, we did a lot of things well. I thought we out-hit them. You know, we really controlled the physical part of the game, the physicality of the game. You know, we made more big plays, explosive plays than we've had all year, and against a really good defense. I think they were the second in the conference in defense, and it's always a hard-fought game. You know, we've been playing these guys for 6 years, and they do a really good job. But we made more big plays in the passing game and in the run game than we've made all year. And so really we're in position to do a lot of things and win the game. We made some errors in the red zone that really hurt us and turned the ball over down there, got stopped another time, and that was really critical. And we made too many errors as far as penalties are concerned, and you know, in the sacks, minus yardage play. So you got to overcome those things. But we had so many kids play outstanding, play their hearts out. You know, guys on defense and D-Jack and several of our defensive linemen played outstanding. And, you know, Torrey Horton had his biggest game and just played his heart out. And Avery Morrow had another really productive game at running back. So, you know, we had a lot of guys laid on the line. Got a couple quarterbacks that got a chance to play. And, you know, Jackson came in and showed some really bright spots for a guy that has never really played much before. So a lot of things we can build on.
Speaking offensively in that game, 468 total yards of offense for the Rams. That is by far a season high for you. The thing I like about watching your offense, yes, there's been some struggles this year, but you're seeing market improvement as the season has gone along. And that, you know, it helps when you can get off to a good start offensively. And your first drive of the game kind of set the tone for you guys offensively. You go right down the field, and, of course, Avery busting the big 52, 56-yard run.
Yeah, that was a beautifully blocked play. Our offensive line really did a great job. And Torrey Horton got a big block on that play as well. And then Avery he's so determined. He's really dedicated himself. And to see this kid practice is really a joy. He's really determined to have a great season and continue to do some of the really good things he's done. And it's just so exciting to see him grow and mature. Our biggest thing offensively and the way we play is we have to develop playmakers, and you're seeing that with Torrey Horton. You're seeing that with Avery Morrill. Clay, when he can stay healthy, is throwing for 70%, which is leading the league. Horton's leading the league in receiving. Morrill's leading the league in rushing yards in conference games. And so those are guys that are developing as playmakers, and we just need to continue to build more guys around those guys.
Yeah, Justice Ross Simmons, another guy
Justice had another good
as
game.
well. And he's one of those kids that now, as we watch him progress through the season, and again, a true freshman that got thrown in there at Washington State, and not sure you knew you were going to play guys like Justice Ross Simmons this year, but maybe not as much as you are now. But man, in that San Jose State game, when the ball was thrown to him, you kind of just said, he's going to go get that. I mean, at least I do from the broadcast booth. I start having that confidence in number 85 out there that he's just going to make a play.
Yeah, we get the benefit of working with him in practice every day. And Matt and I were talking, he's got a chance to be one of our best all-time red zone players. I mean, when you have a big physical guy like that can jump, he's a basketball player. When he can jump like that and you can throw high balls to him, the quarterbacks love throwing to him. And, and the other guy like that is Jordan Williams. I mean, he's another guy, 6'6" tight end that can really run like a deer, and he got his first catch. And so, those guys are all babies, and they're growing up together, and they're learning some hard lessons, and we're throwing them in the deep end and seeing if they can swim. So,
well, they have been swimming, and I know Jordan has the one catch on the season. Again, you mentioned finally got his first catch, but he was on the field for several plays for you on Saturday night against San Jose State. You mentioned the big plays by the offense, and just going by stat broadcast is what we use. You had 18 explosive plays. Now, they define that on the stat broadcast as a run that's 10 yards or more, or a pass that's 15 yards or more. 18 of them in the game against San Jose. I mean, that has to by far be a season high, doesn't it?
It is, and we made some really explosive plays, and I think that's just a product of execution and guys playing together. So much of what we do is, our quarterback has to get used to throwing to his receivers, and, Clay's used to throwing to Torrey. He really likes throwing to Torrey, but he's really hasn't gotten the repetitions with Justice and Lewis Brown and Jordan, and those guys are learning. And really, it's not so much playing the games for those guys; it's practice. You build the consistency and execution in practice, and those guys are just not used to practicing at this high level at college. They were in high school. If you ever saw high school practice, it's nothing like our practice. And they might catch 4 or 5 balls in practice. We catch hundreds of balls in practice. So it's just getting them ramped up to that high level of practice, and the number of freshmen that have had to play for us on offense is just a high level. We got a starting center that's a freshman. We got tight ends that are playing a lot at freshman. And then we got 3 wide receivers at freshmen that are in the rotation. So we got to get those guys up to speed.
Yeah, you mentioned Torrey Horton. He was just phenomenal on Saturday night in San Jose. He had 9 catches, 196 yards, and a touchdown. You mentioned now the number 1 receiver in the Mountain West Conference. But, I kind of had a feeling that he was going to play well when before the game kicked off, there was just a big crew of people wearing green Torrey Horton jerseys. And Torrey's from Fresno, so I don't know how long of a drive that is. What, 2-3 hours?
Yeah, a couple hours. He had a bus. He had a bus of 40-plus people.
But there 40-plus people
from Fresno, and it's just there's just a lot of backstory. His old receiver coach coaches for San Jose. We have former players at San Jose, so there's a lot of backstory to that. But Torrey's such a competitor, and he's such a great example for our young receivers of how to practice. And he had a great example in Romeo Dubs that he watched for 2 years, and And Torrey's just he's really working hard in practice. That's why he plays well in games.
All right, so the offense had one of their better nights of the season. The defense played really well too, and we'll talk about that and then also get into the Wyoming game as the show just getting started tonight. We'll take our first break of the evening, and we'll bring it back here to CBN Potts Restaurant and Tap Room in Fort Collins after this on the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield. Potts Restaurant and Tap Room. We are live in Fort Collins here tonight, the Coors Light J. Norvell Coaches Show, as We take you right up until the top of the hour. Tonight's program brought to you by UC Health, with the official healthcare partner of Colorado State University. UC Health, live extraordinary. All right, Brian Roth back with head coach Jay Norvell. A couple more segments with Jay, and then we'll get to DeQuan Jackson and Adam Pill, our two guests here tonight. Again, taking you up to the top of the hour. Rams fall on the road at San Jose State this past week. But, Jay, we talked a lot about the offense and strides that they have been making here this season. I thought the defense certainly played more than well enough on Saturday night to get you a win.
No, we played really well defensively, and we held them down, and they did not run the ball very effectively. Third down was not they weren't very effective on third down. Besides a few big plays in the fourth quarter, we held them down with the big plays as well. And that's a passing offense that's been pretty high octane, and one of the better receivers in the league, and their quarterback is throwing for a ton of yards. So, no, we played well defensively. And, and I told the kids, I just think, every game you go into, you have to do certain things to give yourself a chance to win. We just didn't play it well as a team in the fourth quarter, well enough to win. They outscored us. And that was the difference in the game.
Yeah, their quarterback, Chevin Cordero, of course, we all know what he did at Hawaii, but what he's doing at San Jose, too. I thought your pass rush was very good, even when you only brought four. Yep. I thought you guys got after him. And, sometimes you have to credit the opponents, too, because Cordero, a couple of times he looked dead to rights, and next thing you know, he's making a throw on the run that's on the money.
Yeah, and they use a lot of dash protection where they try to pin you and then allow him to sprint out, and they do a good job of that. He's not very tall, and so it helps when he gets on the perimeter, and they did a good job of that. And he's a crafty player. He doesn't throw the ball into coverage much. He's athletic enough to get out of trouble sometimes. And he makes smart decisions because he's played a lot of football. So, no, he's one of the better quarterbacks in our league.
Yeah, Mo Kamara played well in that contest, as did DeQuan Jackson. We're going to talk to DeQuan here in just a little bit, but can you comment on what he's meant to this football team this year? Obviously, DeQuan's been here a long time. I think he's played in nearly 50 games. He's racked up nearly 300 tackles, but he's been really a stalwart Ram for a number of years.
No, I've really leaned on DeQuan, and he's one of our older players that have been through this program and seen all the different things that have happened. And it's just so important that guys take ownership and really try to make a difference. And he's one that's always really taken seriously his role as a leader. And I just appreciate that so much about him. And he's helping the younger players. He's helping the other guys that are leaders, and just trying to take the message of the coaches to the field, and also, showing that personal accountability of what it takes to lead. And it's not easy. It's not easy to lead. We have captains meetings tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., and it's our favorite time of the week. Coach Simmons and Coach Copeland and myself and our captains, we talk about what's important that week and what we need to do in this game, and things that we need to remember as leaders, and it's my favorite time of the week to spend with those guys. But DeQuan has done an amazing job as a captain, and it's so appreciated by our coaching staff.
Yeah, indeed. Again, we'll have DeQuan coming up here in just a little bit. And I also want to mention this too. You talk about doing it on the field and doing it off the field, and this young man does just
amazing,
that. Yeah.
Amazing student. He's a great example to the rest of our players of taking advantage of your college experience, and academically and athletically.
All right. Again, Wyoming coming up on Saturday night at 5 p.m. The Border War 114th meeting. We'll kind of turn our attention to that. But before we get to the actual game, you had a guest at Kama Stadium for practice on Monday. Coach Sonny Lubick made a trip out to talk to the team. What was the message that Coach Lubick was giving you guys?
It's just so it's great when you can talk to somebody who's actually been there and done that. And Coach Lubick has just been amazing to me since I've been here. We visited on many occasions. He always picks up the phone when I call, and I appreciate that. But, just shared similar experiences that he had here with his teams. His first year, was a struggle, but they stuck with it as a team. They stuck together, and they just kept working and to get better. And they showed improvement as the year went out, and really the things that they did towards the end of that season really helped propel them into the next year. And and I think that was the message that I got from Coach Lubick. What a great opportunity is to play in the Border War. What a special game it's been. Any game that's been over 100 years playing now is a special game. And so we're so excited about the opportunity we have to play in this game and what it means to our program and our community and our students. And so he was amazing. He told those guys, we're not that far away from playing pretty well. And we just have to correct some of our mistakes, stop beating ourselves, and continue to stay together. And it was a great message.
Yeah, I know DeQuan has met Sonny a bunch of times, but even the new guys, because Avery Morrow, we talked to him on Monday, and of course Avery's a new guy, came over with you here just this past year, and he was talking with reverence about Coach Lubick, and I thought that was cool to see a guy who's not been around the program, that may not have known about Sonny Lubick before he got here. And one of the things he said, Avery did on Monday, he goes, Coach Lubick came up and called me by my name. And he goes, that was really, really cool. But that's the type of guy who Sonny Lubick is, right?
He has such humility, and he's when he speaks, you could have dropped a pin in that room. Those kids were dialed into everything he said, and he watches us play. He watches those kids, and he talked about our defense and how hard our guys have been playing, and he met Mo Camara and said, Mo, you're doing a great job, and he talked about Horton, and he talked about Avery Morrow, and I think that really affects our young guys, that a person of his stature and all the things that he's accomplished really is paying attention to them. And so I just loved that he talked to the team. I appreciate it so much, and we got so much out of it.
Yeah, indeed. The field is named after the legend, of course, and it will always be named Sonny Lubick Field. And for that, I know we're all very, very proud. All right, we'll take another time out here, and we'll dive into the Border War with head coach Jay Norvell, his first foray into this intense rivalry, and I want to get your thoughts on that. All right, We'll take a time out. More to come here with Jay Norvell tonight. CB and Potts Restaurant and Tap Room in Fort Collins. Back after this on the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield. Restaurant and Tap Room, Coors Light. Jay Norvell, Coach's Show here this evening. And, well, during the commercial break, we had a nice rendition of Fum's song. And Tim O'Hara, Tom Miller's leading the charge on that. And, don't send my boy to Wyoming U, a dying mother said. And Fum used to like to play around with a lot of the rivals.
Yes.
Colorado's in there. There's Cornell,
God bless
Boulder. So pretty good stuff here tonight. Lively night. All right, welcome back, Brian Roth. And head coach Jay Norvell, last segment for Jay. And again, we'll have Adam Pillipil, linebackers coach, and Daquan Jackson, senior linebacker for Colorado State, coming up here as it's Border War Week, Wyoming and Colorado State, 5 p.m. Saturday night from Canvas Stadium. Jay, how quickly did you learn how important this rivalry is when you arrived on campus?
Oh, really immediately. It's one of the most important things whenever you look at a program or become a part of a program is what's the biggest games, and this immediately became the biggest game. Obviously, we don't have CU on the schedule this year, but that's also a very big game, and of course Air Force, and so. No, just heard a lot of stories about border wars of the past and talked to a lot of players that have played in this game, and just the feeling of going over and grabbing that boot at the end of the game. And so we're excited to be a part of it. I've been a part of a lot of rivalries over the years, and rivalry games are very passionate. They're very physical. And, the team that wins the game's got to control the physicality of the game, number one, and it limit its mistakes. Turnovers are very important, but you got to play physical, and you have to control your emotions and be the team that makes the least amount of mistakes.
Well, you've been in the league a long time, and I know you have a lot of respect for Craig Bull, the head coach there at Wyoming, and I thought he was kind of a perfect fit for there. Came from, obviously, North Dakota State, where he won 3 national championships, and just kind of has that toughness that I think his teams have taken on in his tenure there. Yeah,
they have a personality. They like to play, and I've known Coach Bull a long time. He actually coached my brother at Wisconsin when he was an assistant at Wisconsin, and I also knew him when he was at Nebraska, and I spent some time at Nebraska, and so – known him a long time, have a lot of respect for him. He's always done a really good job as a coach and run a good program, and so it's always a challenge. And we played him when I was at Nevada. Always had hard-fought games against them, and so looking forward to it. It's an old-school football game. It's not going to be fancy, which is great. And I grew up in Wisconsin, and I used to say that the games didn't start till you could see your breath. And I was on the practice field today, and I could see my breath, so I started smiling.
Yep. We've had such good weather over the last number of weeks that finally starting to feel like we're inching closer towards winter. And again, it'll be a 5 p.m. kickoff. Obviously, the time change here this past week, so it's going to be dark, and it sets up for a really, really fun game. And what do you make of Wyoming? I mean, here they were picked to finish 5th in the Mountain Division. They had lost some players off last year's bowl-winning team, and yet here they are. They're kind of in the thick of it in the Mountain West Conference. Yeah,
which you'd expect. It's one of those years where, it's super competitive top to bottom. Everybody is very competitive, and that's what you would expect from this team. And in this game, you could kind of throw the records out. I think everybody really wants to be the team that plays the best on Saturday, and so I think it'll come down to who does that. Yeah,
and again, it's not just the boot that's on the line, but this is a Wyoming team that's 4-1 in conference play, and Boise State's 5-0 in conference play. They get Boise the next week, and those Wyoming guys are thinking that they're right in it for a Mountain West Conference championship, but you guys go out and beat them on Saturday night. Those are gone.
Yeah, none of that really matters on Saturday. The only thing that matters is who walks away with that boot Saturday night.
Yep, absolutely. Well, one of the great things about and Jay, I know you know about it. You're going to experience it firsthand. I don't think there's more and cooler pageantry that surrounds this rivalry. Maybe there is out there, but just everything that goes into it. And obviously one of those is the the ball run. They run the game ball from War Memorial Stadium, and they run it all the way down to Canvas Stadium. And the ROTC folks from Wyoming will run it to the border. I think they only have to run like 27 miles. Our ROTC guys have to run 38 miles. We're tougher. That's okay. We can handle the extra mileage over here. But you're gonna experience that on Friday up at the border with the Spirit Squads. Joe Parker's gonna be there. Craig Bull will be there. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did want to give a little plug.
Yes.
OCR is going to be selling these teddy bears on Saturday at the game, and all the proceeds are going to go to the CSU ROTC. And so, just really want to encourage everybody to participate in that, and appreciate OCR for spearheading that. So please
absolutely.
participate.
Thank you to OCR. Appreciate that. And we'd be remiss not to mention that it is Military Appreciation Day coming up on Saturday. Of course, Veterans Day on Friday. Of course, we had Election Day yesterday. And, I'll tell you what, I want to give a shout-out to some of the ROTC guys back there. Colonel Greg Johnson in the house. He commands the Air Force ROTC program here at CSU. Lieutenant Colonel Matt Tillman. He commands the Army ROTC program. Ben Schrader is also with us. Ben with the ALVS. And Bree, his coordinator back there. And then Master Sergeant Garrick Stroud also in the house here tonight. And we appreciate them coming out here this evening. And again, speaking of the ROTC, I mean, it's one of the finest ROTC programs in the nation, what they have going on here at Colorado State. And really, is talking to those gentlemen earlier in the week, and they call it an executive leadership program. I mean, that's what it is, and they're doing great stuff. Again, promoting leaders on the campus here at Colorado State. Well, Jay, look, we'll let you go. Enjoy Friday.
Yes, sir.
And then go out and get that boot on Saturday night.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
All right,
it.
Head Coach
Thank
Jay
you.
Norvell.
Thank you.
Rams and the Pokes on Saturday night. We'll take a timeout. Daquan Jackson. He'll join us next, the senior linebacker on the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield. AJ Norvell Coaches Show, live CBN Potts Restaurant and Tap Room in Fort Collins. Tonight's show brought to you by Bank of Colorado. There's only one Colorado, there's only one CSU, and one bank. And cheers as loud as you do. It's Bank of Colorado. There's only one. All right, let's give a nice warm welcome to Daquan Jackson tonight, senior linebacker out of Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah, Daquan's been here a long time. Was that 5 years or 6 years?
This is my 5th year.
5th year, okay.
Yes,
I know you had that extra COVID year mixed in there. And man, I wish we could get you for another 1 or 2 years, but apparently they frown on that.
Yeah, I ran out of eligibility.
That's right. Well, Daquan, great to have you. And we were talking. This is nothing new for Daquan. I think you're one of our returning champions here. This is about your 3rd time on the show, I think.
Yes, sir. 3rd or 4th.
You've been here maybe even 4 times. And we keep going back to the well because you're so good, and that's why we keep going back to Daquan. Well, tell us a little bit about this season so far. I know maybe not as many wins as you've wanted. It's been an interesting year in many facets, but I know every time I look out there, number 5 is flying around the field, and you're making the most of this football career, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I'm still enjoying it. It's been a rough season, but I think we got a lot out of it when it comes to team bonding and just being around the guys and the coaching staff, and the leadership and stuff like that has definitely improved. So I just feel like culture-wise, it's probably one of the best seasons I've been a part of. And then football-wise, it's still one of the best seasons. I've been able to learn new things and go out there and show new stuff. So I'm still excited about the opportunities we have left, too.
You were recruited by a coaching staff 2 coaching staffs ago, Coach Bobo. Then you played with the previous coaching staff, and now you're playing with Coach Norvell and this coaching staff.
Yes, sir.
What has that process been like? Because I know you go to a college, you go to play for a particular coach, and next thing you know, 3 coaching staffs later, here you are.
It's rough. It's been a lot of adversity, but like I would say that all the coaching staffs have been very respectful of me, and I learned a lot from each coaching staff. And I was able to adapt to 3 different playbooks and 3 different position coaches and just different stuff that I could put on my resume. But the most I can say is that there's been a lot of great men come through this program to lead us, and it may not have always turned out the way that we wanted it to turn out, but I can say I learned a lot. So I'm very honored and humbled, to have this college career and to be here at Colorado State no matter how it went.
Yeah, Daquan's had a great career, 47 games for Daquan Jackson, 287 career tackles, 25 and a half tackles for a loss in his career, 4 sacks. And he also has had his hands on that boot as well. You got to do that in 2020. I want to ask you about that in a second, but let's go back to Monday. Coach Lubick coming to talk to the team. What was his message? And tell me a little bit about your relationship with Sonny. I know you've met him on a number of occasions.
It's always awesome. He's just like a humble guy, and it's like he's honored to be around us, and we're honored to be in his presence. So it's just listening to him speak is always inspirational. The hairs on your arms stand up, and you just get the chills. And he talked a lot about, it's his first season. And like Coach Norvell said, the message I got from him was it was rough that first year, but fortunately they won this game coming up, and it kind of turned the tide. And he talked about how that momentum went into the next year. And me personally, as a leader and a defensive guy on this team, I want to set some momentum this week that goes on and goes forward and sticks with the younger guys.
Yeah, Sonny Lubick's team, they made a run at the end of that 93 season. I think they got to 5 wins. They went 5-6, and, of course, set up the next year, 1994, really one of the best years in Colorado State football history. We're talking to Daquan Jackson, senior linebacker for Colorado State, now in his 5th season. Okay, well, take us back to the 2020 game, and it was interesting because there's nobody in the stands. First off, it was the COVID season, and, of course, you guys only got to play 4 games that year. But one of them was against Wyoming, and you guys win. What was that moment like when the clock hits 000, the boots on the other side of the stadium, and, man, it's a dead sprint?
That game's so important that we only played 4 games that year, and we won that one. And that's still the best win I've had since I've been here, the best feeling I've had since I've been here. Holding that trophy up and celebrating with my teammates was just like a different feeling.
Well, Daquan, you know, I know we're building for the future. When you guys go out there and get that boot on Saturday night, and I know you're not going to be here. You still may be in town. Who knows? But on this show next year, we're going to, right here in the middle of this table, we're going to have that boot up there. And you're going to be one of the guys to help deliver that. But I know that's such an important feeling. And, you know, I mean, conversely, and you know, talking to former players about this rivalry, conversely, as good as that felt, I know it's the opposite end of the spectrum when it doesn't go your way, isn't it?
Yeah, I was sick.
It's sick.
You just go,
literally
go
sick
straight to the
stomach.
locker room.
Yeah.
You don't want to be out there when those guys are dancing around. So
No.
hopefully we dancing on their grave this week.
Yes, indeed. That's the plan coming up on Saturday night. All right. Well, I mean, you talk about building for the future. Again, it's certainly a win against Wyoming can help build that momentum. How do you guys get that job done? You look at their offense, but they really like to run the football. The quarterback can throw Peasley, but he can also beat you with his legs too, can he?
Yeah, so we've been watching film on them and preparing, and that's going to be the biggest thing this week. The way we prepare and get ready for this game, it's been good. I've been excited in practice. I've been flying around in practice, and so have all the other guys. And that's going to be the difference in this game. But at the end of the day, it's going to be who's tougher and who executes more that night. And I'm pretty sure it'll be the Rams.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the confidence. I mentioned we've had Daquan on the program before, and I know I've asked you about what you want to do in your future. Daquan is one of the best student athletes we have not only at Colorado State but in the Mountain West Conference. He's always all academic Mountain West Conference. And I know you want to work with young people, right?
Yes, sir.
Once you get done with your football career?
Yes, sir. That's been my passion, just reaching back into communities like the one I grew up in and being around kids and stuff like that. That's just what brings me joy. So whenever football comes to an end, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be around. If I could wake up every day and impact somebody, make somebody smile, that'll be the goal in life for me.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming out, Daquan. Appreciate it. All right, Daquan Jackson, the epitome of student athlete and an outstanding young man that makes you proud to be a Colorado State Ram fan. All right, we'll take our final timeout of the night here from Fort Collins. Linebacker coach Adam Billabill joins us next on the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield. Here tonight. Thanks to everybody for joining us here this evening. Coors Light J. Norvell Coaches Show live at CB and Potts Restaurant and Tap Room in Fort Collins. Tonight's show brought to you by Canvas Credit Union. They're proud to be the official credit union of the CSU Rams. You can visit them at their CSU branch. It's located at Lowry Student Center on campus, or you can visit them at canvas.org/CSU. All right, welcome Adam Pillapil to the program, linebacker coach, Colorado State. Adam, good to see you. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I think it's only fitting that we get Adam for Wyoming week. Did you guys plan that? How did this work out that you were here? Because for the folks that don't know, Adam played 4 years up north on the moon.
Yeah. It's quite a way to work something out.
That's right. But
yeah.
I mean, obviously, once you graduate, you get into your coaching career. There's no question he's green and gold now. But this has to be an interesting week for you. Look, you have relationships with the folks up in Wyoming with Coach Bull, and now here you are. You're rivals with those guys, ready to go out and beat them on Saturday.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's a cool deal, and I think it's been an interesting. When we were talking about taking this job, the first thing that I told Coach Norvell is we're going to go get the boot. When I took the job, that was the first thing I told him, and so it's certainly been an interesting week, and it's cool, and I knew I would play those guys again at some point. Didn't think it would be this quick, but. No, we're really excited about the opportunity we have going, here for us.
Yeah, again, Adam played 4 seasons at Wyoming, 2015 to 2018. Then you got into coaching, and last year, your first full-time coaching gig, he was at Montana State with Freddie Banks. Again, they made a run to the FCS National Championship game. Tell us a little bit about how you wound up here at Fort Collins. I know your relationship with Freddie was a big factor.
Yeah, and Coach Banks played for Coach Bull as well at North Dakota State, and so I was GAing at Kansas State for some guys that were at North Dakota State before, and
right.
So just got a text from Coach Banks, hey, give me a call, and me and him built a pretty good relationship over about a week, and I ended up going out there, and we worked together for those 6 really special months in Bozeman, and when you grind in this coaching profession with somebody and a group of guys, you get really close. Sometimes you spend a lot more time with the other coaches than you do your own family, so he was able to get the opportunity, thanks to Coach Norvell, and he asked me to come along, and it was something that I thought a lot about, and my wife and I definitely spent some nights thinking about, but at the end of the day, there was no question where we wanted to be, and that was right here. So it all worked out how it was supposed to.
Yeah, you talk about the North Dakota State influence, and of course, you're a defensive coach. You were a defensive player in college. How similar is what Coach Banks is running here at Colorado State compared to what Coach Craig Bull does there at Wyoming?
Yeah, it's really all the same family of defense, and then everybody's kind of spurted out in their own ways. The guy that created it was really Gus Bradley, and he's up in Indianapolis now, and so Coach Banks and I, visited with him over the offseason and picked his brain a little bit. But it's the 4 down, the 4-2-5, and with an aggressive defensive line, linebackers running sideline to sideline, and then corners that can cover and safeties that can make plays. And so that's kind of at its core of the defense. That's what we do. We play hard, we play fast, we play together, and we feel like we do a really good job of doing that right now.
Now, you only graduated college, 4 years ago? You're a young guy. Do you relate to the players maybe a little different than some of the other coaches? I know you have a pretty young staff, but
yeah.
You're almost their age.
I hope so. Hopefully I haven't lost my touch. I still try to be kind of a young guy, but DJ could probably tell me if I'm not. But no, I try to relate with the guys, and I think the number one thing is I know what the stresses are of being a student athlete in this day and age, and there's a lot more that goes into it than just being a football player. There's a lot of outside stuff that these guys have to deal with in terms of the way that other people can contact them, social media, their phones and all that stuff. So I'm pretty keen into what they have to go through, and then shoot from an academic standpoint and the load that a lot of our guys carry. And DJ does an amazing job with that, as do a lot of the guys in our room. So I hope I can relate with the guys at this point. Shoot.
So do they know that you used to be a DJ in college? Do they know that he was a DJ up in college, right? Did you have turntables and everything?
Yeah. Yes, we did. We did. Yeah.
Not
Well,
too many college football
you know-
coaches can DJ too, I'm pretty sure.
And I was a walk-on, so you got to find a way to earn some money somehow and help my mom pay for college. So, yeah, we got on the tables every now and then.
All right. And you can thank Jordan Simmons for that, by the way. You've got to tell me what was the DJ name?
It was the Filipino firecracker. Yeah. It's a pretty good one.
Filipino firecracker.
Yep. Yep.
I love it. That is absolutely awesome. I wish I had 2 turntables for you here.
Oh, we could
and
get
you
it
could just
cranking.
take us to like the
We
top
could
of
get
the
it
hour.
cranking.
That is awesome. All right, Adam Pillabill, linebackers coach at Colorado State, joining us as we again look forward to the Wyoming game.
There's something new every
Saturday
day.
night. Talk a little bit about this defense because I think the defense has played solid all season long. Certainly played well enough to win on Saturday night, but this D is opportunistic, and the linebackers have a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I think we've done a really good job, and the credit goes to our players. They've taken an intentional focus and improvement every single week, and we coach them really hard. I don't think that's any secret. We coach them really hard, but it's because we see the potential, we see where we can get to, and we know that that's possible. And just like DJ said, we win with our preparation. We come in Monday and we're the same exact coaches and they're the same exact players, and we got to work to continue to improve and get better every single week. And I think that's why, over the course of the season, I hope you've seen us play confident, play faster, attack the ball more. And I think, again, a huge credit to our guys. They've been the ones that have bought in and taken us to where we're at. We're just lucky enough to coach him right now.
All right, about a minute left, and I'll leave you with this, a guy that has a lot of experience in this rivalry. What's going to be the message as you talk to these players going into Saturday night?
Yeah, I think, what I told him is there's going to be a critical moment in this game. Every year there is. In 2018, it's 3-0 at halftime. 2017, it's snowing and nobody can see anything at halftime. 2016, it's 14-14 at halftime. 2015, the game started out, it's super close, and so the list goes on. There's going to be critical points in this game, and so how do you execute in those critical moments? You just do your job, and if you're prepared to do your job and you're confident in what you know, then you'll do that. And so don't make it anything any bigger than it is. Have as much fun as you can possibly have in a big time environment, and go let it rip.
Yep, and then at the end of the game, race across that field and grab that boot, right?
Yeah, I'll be going down that elevator so dang fast.
Because he's in the press box during the game. Adam, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank
All right,
you. Yeah,
the Filipino firecracker, Adam Pillabill, linebackers coach at Colorado State. All right, that's going to do it here tonight. Bradford Camp's been back at Learfield Master Control. Hope McConkey helping us out here tonight. And big thank you to DJ and Coach Pillabill, Coach Norvell, Brian Roth saying so long. We'll see you Saturday night out at Campus Stadium.